Hi guys, and welcome back to another video here on Navisim 101. And if you're new to the channel, a warm welcome to you as well. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. This beautiful scenery is in Norway. Alright, so we're in Bergen, just above Flesland Airport. But look at this scenery, it's amazing, isn't it? This is Norway. I've never been to Norway, but if the reproduction on MSFS 2020 is anything to go by, then I think that this could certainly be a future holiday destination. Look at that. It's lovely, isn't it? Okay, so now just going to go forwards a bit and get back down to terra firma, because if you have a look there in the distance, just by the house, you can see where I've put the DA62. So I've just wheeled it off the tarmac, just outside those cottages or houses there, so we can have some quiet time to do our tutorial. Okay, so as promised in the last video, we're going to be having a look at the G1000 avionics unit in a bit more closer detail, its setup and its operation as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the cockpit and start our tutorial. So welcome to the cockpit of the DA62, and first off, just to say that this is the mod updated version to version 3.4. So I will be working from this one, and if you want to actually update yours, then please do see the last video, which really helps you to install the latest update, so we all can be working from the same cockpit. All right, so right now what we have in front of us is the G1000. Sometimes you might get it in different guises, such as maybe just one screen and an audio comms panel. Okay, I'm not going to be talking too much about the audio comms panel today, as it has limited workability. The DME Morse code works, but really it's just a sound panel, so yeah, not too much to say about that. What we're going to be focusing on really are the two screens, the two integrated avionics units that you can see here. Okay, and having a look at the side rotary knobs and switches, they have kind of like different functions. So for example, if you have a look at the way the switch is, the knob is situated, you have an outer dial and you have an inner one as well. Okay, and on top you have a click button. Okay, and with the Alt you have the same thing. So pretty much most of them have an outer dial and an inner dial, and some of them actually you can actually click on top. All right, so let's just turn this on using the master switch, and don't forget the avionics master as well. If you don't turn this on, some of the like the nav2 function, it won't actually transfer for some reason. Not sure if that reflects real life, don't think so. Perhaps just a MSFS quirk. All right, so turn on the master, and there it is. There's the G1000. All right. So really, what are we going to do first? Well, I thought maybe if we just have a look at one aspect of the mod update, and that's this one here. So we click on the menu button, and there it brings up a PFD setup menu. All right. So just to say before we start that this screen here is the PFD, which is the primary flight display. And this one on this side is the MFD, which is the multifunction display. All right, so okay, so one of the really good updates is the ability to actually darken the screen. So you can see here I've got these set at 70%, because beforehand these screens were really bright, and you just you know, to do night flying with these screens was ridiculous. But now you can actually turn it down, so that's really cool. All right, now to actually turn it down, you use the outer ring of the FMS button and just move it down there, and you can actually adjust the MFD. All right, we're going to be using the MFD button, it's MFD, FMS button a lot. This is like the main button here you'll be using. Okay, right, so we've done that, so we can just press the button here just to get that window off. All right, okay. Now, while we're here, it's a good idea to actually go down to the timer ref window. Okay, so you can see references there, and you have timer, and you have the speed references, all the speed bugs and minimums. All right, so how do we set these? Well, all we do, we go back to the FMS button. All right, so if you actually click on the top, now what that does, that actually puts the field into the window, and that applies to all the other windows we're going to be looking at. So you click on top and it brings that up. Now if you want to change a value, you rotate, well, let's just turn that off, that's the low voltage warning. You rotate the inner dial, which is this one, and there you can see it's now centered on a digit. So we can turn that digit up, scroll up with the mouse wheel, and there you can actually increase it. All right, and to move along to the second digit, you just go to the outer ring of the FMS dial and just scroll back one, and there you can see it's moved over. Go back to the inner knob, and then you can actually increase it like that. All right, so we'll put that down to 5 seconds. Okay, if we can, 2, 1. Right, it goes back up to 5 for some reason. Oh, there we are. Oh, 0 was there. Okay, there we are. I'll leave it at 0. Okay, and if you want to do the rest of them, then that's the same way you do it. Right, so we click enter to stop that from flashing, and now it's actually inputted into the system. To actually start the timer, we now have to press this button again, and there you can see that all the field there is highlighted. We scroll across with the outer FMS ring, and then we will go back to the inner button and select down. So rotate that one, and you can see it says down, and then we rotate it across using the outer ring to start, and then we press enter. Okay, and there we are. It's actually counting down now. But you notice that when it actually gets to 0, it doesn't stop. It now changes to up. That's a bit weird, really, but it's now counting up. So that's just something to bear in mind if you're going to be using the timer. And you can see there, stop is flashing. So to stop it, you just press the enter. Okay, and then it says to reset. You press the enter again, and then it resets that. All right, so pretty simple to use. Now, to move it down there, you guessed it, yes, we've got to go back to the FMS outer dial, and then we'll move that to glide. All right. Now, these are the speed bugs, and they should appear over here on the speed tape, but you won't see it. Reason being is because the knots that's indicated is way off the scale. So what we need to do is bring that back down. So to do that, the inner knob, and just bring that figure down to about, say, 50, and let's have a look, 47, round about that. Okay, outer ring, move it across to off and back to the inner ring, and just scroll that once, and you can see now that the glide bug has appeared. Okay, and we can do that for the rest of them. Bring that down to about, say, 45, 41, doesn't matter, and do that across and switch that on, and down to the next one, and just move that down to, say, 40, and move it across, inner ring to switch it on. Okay, let's just go back on that one and just move that one down a bit more. There we go. And the last one, we'll put that down to, say, about 30, 35, and then we'll switch that one on. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got all these speed references. Now to move to minimums, once again, use the outer knob, the outer dial, and then just switch that on. And you can see the borrow window has appeared, and go across once again, and then you can actually select your altitude. And if you have a look at the altimeter tape here, you've got your minimums marker, which is now appeared. Okay, and that's pretty much this window. That's how you actually sort this window out and get all the references up. So click enter. Well, in fact, you don't have to click enter, just click the top of that and then it stops it from flashing. Okay, and that's it. That is the references timer and references window. All right, now just moving on just below that, you can see you have exponder, the transponder window, and also the local time as well. There's no way to adjust the time apart from using the MSFS sim menu to actually do that. Right, so we got transponder. Now what you have here are soft keys. Okay, now these soft keys actually refer to this status menu. All right, so this changes as and when you press relevant soft keys. So we want to go into the transponder, so we press the transponder soft key, and there you see it has its own menu. Okay, you have standby, on, out, VFR, code ident, and you've got the back button there. Okay, so this is useful if you're flying on VATSIM. Controller will often ask you to actually switch on out. So you've got on there and it appears there, or out, VFR, and code. Okay, so when you click on code, now it brings up the numericals in the status bar here. So you can use that to change frequencies. So oops, don't click on that like I just did. Click on the soft key, it works then. 2, 3, 4, 4, and you can see that it's actually in there like that. You have a backspace function, so you can go back. All right, cool. So yeah, that's the and you have a ident button as well. So that's the transponder there. All right, I'll put that back. Good. So yeah, nothing much to that really. And now we have an alerts window, and there is nothing there because it's not modeled yet. Trying to see if it works by setting up all sorts of different failures and stuff, but no, it doesn't work. Not as far as I know anyway. Right, so moving on. Now we have the nav 1 and 2 up here. So looking up here, you have the navigation system, or the nav frequencies. Moving across, you have what I'd call the FMA, the flight mode annunciator. So you'd have various bits of information here. Here you would actually have autopilot mode and VS vertical speed mode, etc, etc. Okay, some of the things I can't actually show you on this G1000 because we're actually stationary on the ground. So there are a few more functions to look at, but perhaps maybe I need to do a flight video just to try and highlight those functions. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. All right, and so moving across here, you can see pretty much the same thing. Now the nav 1 and nav 2 frequencies mirror what's on this side as well. So you change one, you change the other. Okay, so sorry, so let's have a look at this then. So nav 1, all right, so let's try and tune a couple of VORs. Right, so if we go over here now, we're going to press the, okay, so what we do, if we use the outer FMS dial, okay, now you can see what it's done. it's actually given us a window here, and it's disappeared. Right, so you can see here we've got like a page menu. So we've got map, waypoint, auxiliary, and nearest. All right, and just under nearest you can see you have sub menus here. Okay, so you've got about 4, so intersections, NDB, VORs, and airports. All right, and on map you've actually got 2. Okay, you've got radar, which works in a limited way. All right, and so we go back to nearest. Okay, and we want to actually try and find the VORs in the vicinity. So you can see a few there. So let's just go down to VOR. Okay, now you can see the VORs have actually popped up. You have 25 nav aids in this window, and that goes for airports, NDBs, waypoints. So you've got 25, and obviously it starts from the closest. So you can see here 0.4 nautical miles, 1.1, 15, 30, 48, 56, and so on and so forth. All right. So let's actually tune the FLE VOR. Okay, so if you have a look down here, because we're in this window now, you have these menus popped up. So we got VOR. If we click on VOR, then it highlights the identifier field. And to move it, once again we go to the FMS dial, the outer dial, and we can actually select that down. Okay, so let's go back up to FLE and let's try and tune that VOR. So come down to frequency, click on frequency. All right, the frequency window or frequency here is highlighted, and we want to put that into nav1. So we click enter. All right, and if we go back, you can see over here that is also in nav1 as well. Now all we have to do to get it across to the active field frequency, we'll just click transfer. Okay, let's transfer that over, and always look for the identifier, make sure it's actually come through, which it has. All right, so that's good. The only thing is that when you look at the dial here, there should be a course deviation indicator bar, which is not there. So not quite sure why that's not working. So what we'll do, we'll go over here and we'll select another one and see if that gives us any joy. So let's go and go to FLS. All right, see if that's going to help. Right. Oh, sorry. Do you know what I've got to do? I've actually got to select VOR and then click enter. That's gone into nav1. All right. So let's transfer that. All right. Yes. So we've got FLS, and we've also got that CDI bar, which is what we want. Okay. So now we've got a VOR, and we need to try and tune this VOR or adjust the heading so that the aircraft knows which direction, or we would know which direction to fly towards that VOR. All we do, this is standard stuff with GA aircraft anyway, you just turn the course rotary dial here, and when you turn it round, then when it's pointing towards the VOR, then that bar moves into the middle. So it's pretty standard stuff. And there we are. We've actually tuned the VOR. All right. There's another way you can do that. There's a shortcut. Okay. So if we just turn that a bit. Now, if you have a look at this, you can see it says push course center. So we'll push, or we'll click on the top of that, and there you can see it's actually centered it. All right. That's the right direction for it. Okay. So that's a nice little shortcut. All right. So that's VOR or nav1. Now, if we go back, we can try another one. So we go back to VOR, and using the FMS outer dial, we will go to VOO. All right. So now at the moment you can't see anything, but it's there. So to actually zoom in, we need to go to the range button, just hover the mouse on top and scroll with the mouse wheel, and there you can see the VU VOR has actually popped up. Alright, so now we go down to the frequency, which is 11485. Okay, click on frequency, and if you go to nav2, click on the top of the nav button here, which transfers that the rectangular box around the nav2, and do the same for that as well. Okay, click enter, and there you can see it's actually put that frequency into the nav2 field. Transfer across, wait for the identifier, yeah, VU, and if we go down to this soft key here, you can see it says CDI, the course deviation indicator. So to get to VOR2, we click that once, and there you can see it's actually got VOR2 displayed. So all we have to do, once again, to tune that properly, we'll just click on the course button there, and there it does it for us automatically. Okay, cool. Now, what about localizer? All right, well, we can do that as well. So if we have to stop this from flashing, otherwise we won't be able to move it. So we click on the top there, and now what we have to do now is actually just use the inner dial here, and we'll go up to airports. Okay, you can see airports is highlighted, and airports is highlighted in this field here. Okay, so if we go to airports, and then we'll click on frequency. So click on frequency again, and you can see here that because we're actually in the airports window, you've got airport, runway, frequency, and approach, which has now appeared. Okay, Flesland radar, Flesland, and other frequencies are here. If you want to tune these frequencies, all you got to do is actually select which COM you'd like it to go into by means of this button here. Okay, so we put it into COM1, click enter, and then that goes into COM1. Okay, so it's still flashing, so to get it down we use the outer dial on the FMS, and we keep scrolling until we see a runway. So you can see ILS runway 35. Now we'll put that into nav1, so we click that back on top, and then we'll press enter, and that's gone into nav1. Now it should actually go into nav1 on the other side. Yeah, there it is. So just select that field, and then there we want to actually transfer that ILS or localizer frequency across. Right, there we go. So we have the identifier, which is BG. So we will now just click on the CDI soft key. All right, so the next cycle for this is going to be the GPS, as you can see, and then we click it again just to cycle it back to Loc 1. And there you can see we have localizer 1, which has now been tuned. Okay, obviously you can't adjust this because it's a runway heading, so yeah, but if we were to actually start the engines now across runway 35, then obviously this bar would actually meet in the center as part of the localizer system. All right, and pretty much you can do that for localizer 2 really. So we'll just put the same frequency 110.50 into nav2. Okay, let's just scroll down to 50 and go to 110, bring that across and wait for the identifier, which is there, and press CDI2, and you can see you've got the same localizer that's been tuned. Okay, cool. So that's the localizer that's been tuned there. All right. Now, just going back actually to the VOR. So let's just go back. Let's stop that one from flashing, and let's just head back to the VOR. So we've got the VOR. I'm going to tune FLS. Oh, actually, we've got it there. So all I've got to do is just go back. Don't want to make more work for myself. So let's just go back up there and let's just tune the VORs again. All right, and also we do that one as well. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's gone back to VOR now. So what I want to show you is this. So if we click on the PFD soft key, and there you can see, you know, another menu has popped up. Okay, having a look at bearing 1 and bearing 2. Okay, so if we just click on bearing 1, you can see now that it's actually popped up a little window here, and you can see FLS, which is in nav1. So this now is actually just showing us the direction of the VOR. Very different from the CDI. Let's have a look. Now this is the VOR2. Let's just try and turn this a bit to get it out of the way. Alright, so you can see here that this needle, this VOR, is actually there. So this is just a bearing indicator needle. It's just pretty much like a compass needle that always points north. Well, this will always point towards the tuned VOR. You can't adjust it in any way. You just fly towards it when it's up that way. Alright, so it's just a bearing. And don't get confused with the bearing 1 and bearing 2. It has no relation to nav 1 and nav 2 whatsoever. So it literally is just, you know, the first bearing, the second bearing. It might as well be called bearing A and bearing B. All right. So that is that one. If you click on bearing 2, then you'll see that you can also tune nav 1 there. Okay, it's just the same thing. Just turn that off. Oops, not that one. Okay, so we click that off. You can see here the bearing 2 has this symbol on it just to differentiate it between bearing 1. Okay, so yeah, that is that. Okay, that's bearing 1 and bearing 2. Keep clicking it, then yeah, the window actually disappears. Now you've got here no data, ADF. All right, the same thing with bearing 1 as well. Okay, now going back to, if we just go back actually and go to ADF here. Now you can see ADF, no data. All right, the ADF tuning function doesn't actually work in on this G1000 unit. I don't know why really, but I'm not sure who uses ADF. I've never used it while flying for ages, but you can see here that to get the ADF you just go down to NDBs, and there you can see BTA. Okay, you can see 336, and to actually tune that you use the outer dial and just go down to 3, go across and tune that to 3 as well using the outer dial, and up to 6. Okay, press the enter and it says enter to transfer. Press it again and it moves that frequency across, and you can still see there, look, there's no there's no data, it's not working. Alright, so just I thought I'd show you that. Right, now what we've got here is DME mode nav 1. Okay, so if I go back to say PFD and then click on DME here, it brings up this window. Okay, so this is just a distance measuring equipment, just another way to see how far the VOR is from your aircraft. And you've got DME mode nav1. You've got nav1 there. To get nav2, all you do is actually click on the top of the FMS button, which highlights the field, and yep, you scroll across using the outer FMS dial, and then back to the inner one. You turn that, and then you've got nav2 there, and that's all that displays. There's nothing else really on that one. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the ADF DME window. Alright, so we'll close that. Now, just having a look at the PFD. Actually, you know, before we do that, while we're here, we'll have a look at the inset window, and pretty much you can turn this off if you want and turn it back on again. It's just a little map reflecting what's on the other screen, and here you have a topographic facility which actually adds more kind of like detailed lines if you wish on here. So yeah, I had that. The Nexrad weather system. Now once again, limited functionality on this. Okay, and you can see here that there are some menus kind of like blacked out or grayed out really. These might come alive when the aircraft is actually in flight. I don't know. I know that the declutter actually works on the other side. So yeah, okay, so just moving back. Let's go back. All right, and now to actually, if you want to scroll or move about in this map, all you do is click on the range button, click on top, and there you can see a little arrows flashing. All right, now to actually scroll in, now what you do is actually scroll just like on the other side. You can scroll out, and you can actually scroll in as well using the mouse wheel. All right, and it's quite handy if you're taxiing about at the airport. Then you can actually see runway direction and so on and so forth. Okay, and to move about, all you do is move the mouse just over the button there, the dial, and you can see the arrow pointing up. You can see it there. Click on it, and then you can move that scroll arrow around in the map. See, and the more, so let's click on it again. Okay, and the more you move it across, then the map actually goes across, and so on and so forth. All right, so yeah, that is the inset map. Okay, so just moving across now, we'll go to the PFD, and there you have SynVis. So this is synthetic visualization. Click on that, and then we click on Synterre, and all it does really is take away the synthetic view of the terrain in front of you. So why on earth you would want to disable that, I don't know. Okay, but the function is there, so we click back on that, and you can bring it back. In the real world, the real one does all sorts of things, such as on an ILS it puts squares in front of you to guide you through down to the runway. You just fly through the squares, and yeah, so pretty neat. But we got no such useful facility here on the G1000 in MSFS 2020. Alright, so let's just go back, and moving along we see wind. Alright, now that will actually bring up three options, the same as it is on the TBM 930. So you've got option 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and basically it just displays the wind in different ways really to suit your needs. Alright, there's no wind data at the moment. Maybe it's because we're not moving, so the pitot tube's not actually getting any useful data, but it does work. I've only noticed it working whilst the aircraft is moving. Alright, so that's wind data, so we can actually turn that window off, and we can go back. Alright, you have an let's have a look. HSI format. All right, so if you want to take it from the rows to an arc, then you just do that, and you can actually now see that it's an arc. Okay, yeah, pretty simple. Back to 360 HSI mode, and right, so you go back, and moving across here you have Alt Unit. Okay, so this is to do with your barometric pressure. Up here at the moment it's in hectopascals. To put it in inches of mercury, just click on this one and you can see it goes to 2992. Okay, so going back to, I prefer hectopascals. Right, so just moving back. Okay, so you can see other bits of information here. You can see your heading there, 254, and also we can tune our heading as you would expect using this dial here. So we can actually turn that to the correct heading or to wherever we want to go. But there is a shortcut, just like the cursor, the course button there. You click on top, and there you can see it actually centers on our current heading. Alright, so that's pretty useful as well. You have your true airspeed there, and also you have a course window here as well. Okay, so yeah, oh, the other thing I need to show you actually is this down here. So we come into these set of buttons now. If we go back and we click on nearest, click on that. So now it would actually bring up this useful feature. So when you're flying, you can actually see the nearest airports. Okay, so obviously we're at ENBR, and that's the next one, and you can see there that it actually goes up in distance. All right, and it tells you pretty much basically what facilities the airport has. So we know there's an ILS here. At ENSO you have just a localizer, and if you use the ALSA FMS dial, you scroll down. If you scroll to tower, you can actually put that into the frequency. So if we click enter, there you can see the tower frequency is now entered there. Okay, runway, it's telling you how long the runway is. Okay, we keep scrolling down. You can see the runway heading as well. Okay, and yeah, so it gives us a few options to actually choose from. Okay, now if you want to actually fly direct to an aircraft, then you have to an airport. Then you have we don't want to fly direct to an aircraft, do we? Okay, scratch that. So we have the direct button here. So we just click on that, and there you can see that airport. Can't pronounce that. Haugesund. Okay, has actually popped up. So yeah, and there you can see actually the activate. Yeah, it's flashing. It stopped for a while. Not sure why. So all you have to do now is just click on the enter button, and if you have a look at the inset window, now you can see that it's actually drawn a straight path. In fact, let's just zoom out a bit, and we should actually see it on here as well, because this reflects what you do on here will be done on here as well. Okay, so yeah, if we just scroll out, then you can see that it's drawn us a direct to, wow, how far is that? Okay, there it is. Okay, so you can see how far that is. All right, and we can now use the inset window as well to actually see the direction that we're flying. All right, so that's the direct to. Okay, the hold function doesn't work at the moment. You can't actually scroll over to it. All right. If you want to actually change the airport, you highlight this field and you just use the inner knob, and you can see there that you can go to a VOR waypoint if you know the identifier for it. Okay. All right. So that's direct to. Okay, and you have the facility to actually create a flight plan. So if you click on the outer, click on flight plan and then click on the outer knob here, and it actually highlights where we are. Okay, and if you keep scrolling down using the outer FMS dial and keep scrolling down, now you can actually put another airport in just by scrolling using the inner FMS dial there, and you can actually scroll to another airport, or you can actually scroll to say FLE, which is the VOR. You can put that into the flight plan, so put FLE L. Okay, and you can see the system immediately recognizes it. You click enter, and there it's actually there, and it's drawn a line. You can see there right back to FLE. All right, and to cancel that, you just click there, cancel. All right, or clear rather, and to clear the rest, you can actually click on the menu button. Actually, not menu button yet. Okay, no, maybe that's not quite right. Okay, we go back. If you highlight it there, you can actually click on clear, and then it gets rid of it. Okay, it's quite fiddly, really. I could never actually create a detailed flight plan with this. It really is, and I don't think it's something you should do while you're flying either. But there we are. It's used in the real world, certified for use. Okay, so we'll clear that. Okay, so we're going to be looking a bit more about creating a flight plan on the other screen. It's a bit too fiddly here, but we get the idea with this window. And whatever you create on the other side, you'll have the benefit of using it on this side as well. Okay, so let's just get rid of this flight plan. All right, now having a look here, you have the Alt. Okay, you can adjust the altitude on the altimeter there, and the outer knob does the thousands, and the inner knob will actually adjust the hundreds. Okay, and just moving across here to this section here, so you have autopilot. Okay, you have flight director, which is just flown off somewhere. Okay, you can turn that off and turn that on. And
engaging
autopilot. Okay, and heading Alt. So when you press the Alt, remember it just synchronizes the altitude with your current heading. So that's why the flight director has actually landed again. Okay, and you have approach, back course, VNAV. The VS, okay, you click on that, you can see VS in the FMA. Now when you actually, this is almost like a trim wheel. You have nose up and nose down. But these are like trim buttons now. And then when you click on nose up, have a look at what's now appeared now on the right hand side. So click on nose up. Let's have a look. Actually, well, let's adjust the altitude a bit more, and let's see if we can get this working. Click on VS, and now click on nose up. And can you see there in that window, it actually increases it by 100 rather, each time you press it, 100 increments. Okay, Not sure why that's not going up again. Maybe I need to. There you go. All right. So that's your VS. Okay, and you have a flight level change facility as well. Okay, so right, so let's move across to this screen, and you can see here on the left hand side you've got basic engine readouts. If you have a look there, you've got your left side and the right, sorry, left engine and right engine, and so on and so forth, left, right, okay. And up here you have the load and the RPMs. Okay, this is a part of the new mod, but I don't actually know what it's doing, to be honest with you. You click on engine and you'd have thought it would have given you more engine readouts, but it's not actually doing anything. So yeah, I don't know what that's about. Okay, now let's try and create a simple flight plan. All right, so we're going to try and do that. So we already know how the Direct 2 works. Okay, and just to show you that with this screen, now we've already looked at this. Okay, now to actually get back to the map screen, you have to think of this in terms of layers. So this is the base layer, for example. Okay, so this is the base layer, and all these would be part of the base layer as well. If you now click on something else, okay, it's now putting like another layer on top. So to actually get back to the map, you have to actually get rid of the layers that you've actually put on. So, you know, you'd have to take off the last one that you clicked, right? Take off the procedure, then take off the flight plan, and now you're back to the base level. That's the only easiest way I can get to explain that, because when you start to get all the windows up, it can be a bit confusing as to how to get back to the map. But that's the principle anyway. So right, where are we? Flight plan. Okay, so we are at Flesland at the moment. So let's put Flesland into the flight plan. All right, so much easier to create it from here than the other window. Okay, so we click on the knob here, the FMS on the top of it, and there you have a flashing cursor waiting for input. So we'll do that. We'll just dial in Echo November. Echo November. Oops. Okay, Echo November, and using outer dial to scroll across to move it to another digit. Bravo. Okay, and then Romeo. Now you can actually scroll backwards to get to a letter more quickly. Okay, so there you are, Flesland, Bergen. All right, click enter. And now it's put that into the top field there as our starting our airport of origin. Right, now it's waiting for more inputs. So where should we go? Let's have a look. Let's just scroll this out. Okay, so any more airports in the facility? In the area. All right, so we've got here Echo November Uniform Lima. So let's do that one. So using the inner knob, we will go there. Okay, and moving across, we'll go to N. So we'll try and scroll back to get to N, see if it's more quicker. Right, N. Okay, scroll across to U, scroll backwards. There we go, there's U. And L. Okay, so there we are, there's L. Okay, so we now have that airport in. Click enter, and there you are, we've just created the first leg. All right, next one, we go to a NDB. So let's do that, shall we? So we'll just scroll the wheel again. and we go to B and the outer knob on the FMS dial, and then we'll go to T using the inner knob now. Go back. Okay, good. And then we'll go to A. Okay, and there we are. So Bella Vista. Okay, and now we click enter. And there it brings up duplicates. All right, so once again, we use the outer FMS dial. Okay, he's got an aircraft coming in. And then we click enter. And now you can see is actually we're actually building our flight plan. Okay. And that's interesting. Can you see on the map, you've got other aircrafts, traffic, which actually can be displayed. So that's really neat. Okay, and so what we want to do now is go to another waypoint. So let's go to FLE. Okay, FLE. So we know that one, don't we? FLE, so JKL. And we go to E. Okay, so we got that. Click enter once again. You can see that there's a VOR. Okay, and then after that, we'll finally go back to where we are in Bergen. So Echo November. And Bravo. Romeo. Okay, cool. So we've got that. So we click enter. Right, and there we've created a very small flight plan. Okay, so we can actually scroll there and just click on the knob there, just trying to adjust that a bit. Right, just to say that whichever waypoint is actually flashing, if you press on the top of the range button, it will actually center it to that particular waypoint. Okay, so if I do that again, it just centers where the aircraft is as well. Alright, so now what we can see here is our flight plan created. Now you can see at the bottom here we have some menu information that's blacked out. These may well come alive once you're in the air, I don't know, but this one here is actually active, so we'll just scroll back because it says you can actually trigger the active leg. So we'll scroll down to Enol and click on active leg, and it should actually activate the first leg for us. There it is. Okay, and you can do that for any other legs there. So FLE, we'll click enter. No, not enter, sorry. Active leg. And there you can see it's actually done that one for us. Okay, so that's pretty handy. All right. Now, the other good thing as well is that if you click on, let's have a look, menu. Okay, you can delete flight plan. All right. And these other things, I don't think store flight plan, invert flight plan don't work at the moment. You may well see remove departure, arrival, approach, which we're going to have a look at now. Okay, so we'll click on procedure. Okay, now you can actually activate a departure. So let's do that. So scroll down to departure using the outer dial on the FMS. Click enter. All right, just wait a bit while it's populating the field there. And now you can see departure is flashing. Okay. To actually see the departures, go straight to the inner dial on the FMS knob here, and there up pops all the departures. Okay, and you can see it's quite a list of departures as the scroll bar on the right hand side is quite small. So to actually scroll down, you go to the outer FMS dial and you just scroll down. Okay, so that's all the departures. So we'll just click on one, click on the first one, for example, and put that departure in. Okay, so that departure's gone in, and there, if we click on this here just to highlight the field, you can actually go down. Now there's no transitions there. If there was a transition, in fact, do you know what? Let's actually do one with a transition. Maybe I will do that one there. No, actually there's no transition, so we'll click on that and then we'll go straight down to runway. Once again, if there's more runways, then you click on you turn the inner knob and that will actually show you other runways. Okay, click on this again and then go down to load. Okay, so all we need to do now is actually to load the flight plan, or the departure. So just scroll down using the outer dial on the FMS and then we'll click enter for load it up, and there we are. It took a while. It got me worried a bit there. Okay, so if we just scroll out, we can see this very weird. You can see the departure there. Okay, so that's the departure there. So it's got the information up there, and what we need to do for the EPOT 2 Delta departure. Okay, and then once you get to the end of the departure, you can see the en route flight plan takes over. All right, now let's press the procedure button again and let's select arrival. Okay, so select arrival and click on arrival. Okay, give it a moment, and there we are. The arrival field is populated. Once again, using the inner knob, if you turn that, then you can see several arrival procedures. All right, so you can scroll down and choose one. I don't know which is the more sensible one, but I'm just going to choose anything. Okay, so just click on Bada to Papa, and we've got that one, and you can see there the sequence at the bottom. Same thing again, click on the FMS rotary knob, the inner rotary knob, and just if there's a transition, it will say there, and you just use the same procedure to get the transition up. Alright, so you have all the sequences listed, and if you scroll right the way down, it will then go to load. Okay, you can see on the right hand side, you can see how small this scroll bar has gone. So we'll just have to scroll. Let's have a look. Okay, we want to try and highlight the load. Click on enter and just give it a moment, and you can see that the yeah, okay, not something you do in real life, but there we are. So the arrival is actually in, and if you actually click highlight this field again and scroll down, so it says departure, and then you have arrival. Okay, right, now what we want is the approach, so click on PROC button and go to select approach, and you notice here it says loaded. Approach no, arrival and departure yes. So we'll click on approach, wait for it to populate, and now you have here an option. It's just got a VOR 17 here, so we'll turn the inner dial, and then you can see you have the localizer there. So we can select ILS 35, click enter. Okay, you got a transition there, so click on this knob and to highlight, scroll down to transition, go to the inner knob once again, and then you can choose a different transition if you wish. Okay, minimums that would be set from the other side, as you know. All right, and here it's got load or activate. Okay, now I wouldn't actually activate it until you're on your finals, otherwise it's really going to mess up the flight plan. All right, so we'll just get down there and click on load, enter. Okay, and that is actually put. So you have here, look, arrival, approach, and we know departure is on top there. Okay. As regards setting the feet, it's a pity it doesn't have the altitudes for the required, for the actual waypoints here, but you can actually put it in, but the system did crash when I tried to do something similar, so I'm not about to do it now. But if you want to do it, then once again you have to just select the field, and then you can actually okay. I turned that and I didn't want to turn it. See if I can get back to where I was. Okay, good. Thank goodness for that. Now I don't want to risk it, but the facility's there. You can do it. It might not crash with your simulator. All right. So, as regards current VNav profile, I've never seen this work in. Maybe I have to take the aircraft up again and find out if it does. Selected waypoint weather. Once again, don't think it's modeled there. All right. So yeah, that is it. And if we just go to the other side and click on flight plan, there you can see the flight plan is there in the active flight plan window. All right. And there you can see in the inset as well. Okay. So I think I'm going to cut the video there because otherwise it's going to go on too long. But that's pretty much the G1000. That's pretty much how to get it up and running and to use it to some degree. Okay. As the mod gets updated even further, then you'll have more functions as well. Okay. So that is about that. I'm just trying to think of anything I haven't mentioned. Just to say that here on the compass rose, just above here you have your standard rate turn, and this one here is a half standard rate turn, and you also have a little trend that actually comes out when you actually bank. Okay. If I was to turn the aircraft now, the trend would actually come. And what the trend means is that it will tell you where your heading will be in 6 seconds. Okay, you also have a speed trend and an altimeter trend as well. But like I said, these things are best shown once you're in the air. Okay, so that is it. I do thank you for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do click on that subscribe button down below, and please subscribe as it helps the channel to grow. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Please do click the like button as well, and we'll see you all again in the next video.